Alright, I don't know why that's been doing that recently. So, welcome everybody to the propaganda stream. And tonight's edition is the end of days. Now, this is a pretty big topic to cover. This is going to be a fun one. So, due to the nature of this, I thought a lot about what I wanted to do with this. And I think we're going to upload this one to YouTube. So this one's going to be a little more YouTube friendly than my other streams. That being said, this is information that we want to get out. We have a bunch of things put together. So, going into this, I just thought about how it was that I learned about these things. So, I want to start off with the scenario that we're in. Ever since I was a kid, a lot of you might not know this about me, but I've been really into science fiction. And my grandpa was really into science fiction. He always recommended science fiction. We always watched like the Science Channel together, which is heavy in propaganda. But the fun thing about it is you get to learn about all the nasty devices that the government is coming out with. And when we say government, we know who we'll mean. Who we mean by that? Who controls the government? Anyways, so the first thing that you have to realize when considering, if you're just into this topic, if you haven't heard of it, why would the world be ending? Now, we're not here to, spread a bunch of propaganda to get you to donate to a cause or something to save the world. The fact of the matter is, the only things that we can do, we're going to have to do, well, we have to get together, but they're going to start from us. So, this topic, if you don't think that the government, we want to start with depopulation. So a lot of people label depopulation a conspiracy theory. And the whole reason for this is what use would the government have to kill off a bunch of people? Well, I should ask the exact opposite question. What use does the government have for us? The fact of the matter is, they have more power than we do. We are subject to their whims, not the other way around. It would be nice if the government was fearful of the people. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So, what use have we had for the government? Why has the government kept us around this long? So, we'll assume, we'll assume that, just for a second, America is its own nation. It's been around for, how long? Probably. Gotta do the math off the top of my head. It's been around, definitely. I can't think about the exact math, but I think we're approaching 300 years. 17, no, because that was 17. No, it'd be closer to 200. Either way, America is a semi-new country compared to all the other countries. So, what use have they had for us? Up until this point, we have provided the government with money. And they take this out of our tax dollars, and they've been increasingly adding to this each year. Now, you also have to consider the fact that corporations, banks, other public services and other governments are all connected by the exact same people. So, what use does a government have for a group of people who is becoming increasingly obsolete? The fact of the matter is, if you don't know, machines are taking a lot of people's jobs, and it's not just machines. But the fact of the matter is, at the rate that we're going and where we are now, the government actually has no use for any workers. A lot of companies are only paying us because they don't want to create a sense of panic just yet. Looking into this, here's a quote from the Epoch Times. Victor Chevets, I'm going to assume his name is pronounced, the global strategist of the investment bank Macquarie Group, that's who the quote is coming from. He says, "The private sector will never recover. It will never multiply money." Again, let me restart that. I forgot to full size this. Give me just a second. Here we go. All right. So Victor Chevet says, the private sector will never recover. It will never multiply money again, he told the Epoch Times. His main theme is the declining return on humans, which means that in today's digital world, normal humans don't grow productivity fast enough to justify more jobs and higher wages, as the machines are taking over. And then he also says, it takes time to line up machines, and this time we are replacing humans altogether. So, the government and the corporations are going to replace us with machines. And what sort of jobs do you think are going to be secure? Obviously, the banking jobs, the political jobs, the CEO jobs. And about the only thing they'll need us for is to maintain the machines. That is, until they design machines to maintain those machines. Although then again, they have to have machines to maintain those machines. It becomes increasingly more useless. And that is also assuming the fact that they don't have machines which, once up and running, require little to no maintenance. It continues. But what about technologies makes humans more productive? Chevet says, this was true in the first and second industrial revolution, when displaced jobs such as the horse cart driver eventually morphed into a higher tech and higher productivity ones like the taxi driver. However, in this, the third industrial revolution, machines are not augmenting humans, they are replacing them. The self-driving car will completely eliminate the driver. So, that is in our current industrial revolution. And let's not forget that the World Economic Forum is planning in 2030 to start up plans for a fourth industrial revolution. How great is that? So, if you don't already feel like your job is useless anyways, if you don't feel like you're getting paid minimal scraps to survive, nothing, absolutely nothing, you have no money to pay for anything, it's going to require you and a wife and maybe even other people to pay for your basic necessities. And yeah, I'm probably one of the few people that don't have to do that, but that's because I survive on such a minimum level. Like, my paycheck is about bare minimum of what I need to support my family. And I have to work pretty long and stressful hours to get there. That being said, what are you supposed to do when you can't afford to live? I mean, with the price of food, I've hardly been able to afford food. One of the biggest concerns I have every time I go to the grocery store is what sort of foods I can get. You have to consider the fact that typically if you get food that you prepare on your own, which requires more time, and it's better for you, I recommend it, that's still not going to save you as much money as you need to get the things that you need to live, especially if you want a high meat diet. Now, what I do for this is I go to, I get most of my meat from the local Amish community. They have a meat store in their little town, and we go out there and get meat. It's not a whole lot more expensive, and it's better quality. They're not trying to taint it with all these diseases that you get with factory farming. They don't mistreat their animals. And the best part about it, the The best part is they're not going to try to sneak things in your food, which will basically give you an allergy to meat, which is something that they've talked about doing. Now, that's not the point of this presentation, but I thought I should mention it. So, it continues. And not only lower skilled jobs like taxi drivers are threatened, just look at the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, where you can barely see a human specialist trader anymore. The machines in New Jersey have taken over the trading. Yeah, machines can do about anything now. I mean, we even have AI writing stories, which aren't as good, but nevertheless, AI is still able to do it. And if you're not paying much attention, you probably wouldn't even notice. We have AIs making art. We have AIs which can make music. And it's really not that difficult to make music. You just have to have a basic idea of how a melody works, how the song structure works, and, well, what to do with 12 notes, especially if you limit it to a key. Now, that doesn't mean you'll make a good melody, but some AI music is getting there. Yeah, JJ said in the chat, the US is approaching 250 years old. Yeah, I was thinking that, and then for some reason, mostly because I've been studying a lot of stuff on the American Revolution recently, I was thinking that America was founded in the 1600s, so I was like, it's about 300 and something at this point. No, that's not the case. It was 1776, although the final battle of the American Revolution, I think, was 1780 something. That's actually, I think that's relevant later in this. So, it continues by saying, when the economists say we can continue to leverage, as we have done in the last 3 decades, it lacks understanding of the balance sheet. Even at 0 interest rates, at a certain level of debt, you go bankrupt because the private sector loses confidence in the system, said Chevets. So, yeah, the fact of the matter is it's the same people. They're planning this obsolescence. When they say planned obsolescence, it's not just products. They've always planned for us to become obsolete. And this has been going on, I would argue, not just from the beginning of America, but from the beginning of this whole situation. You have to understand who's responsible for this. We'll get into that a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, they have always planned for our obsolescence. They don't want a large population.